Now you guys know I'm a big fan of Roman Reigns. I got a video on the channel that I uploaded a couple weeks ago about the genius of his championship reign, and today I wanted to talk about a potential next step for Roman Reigns' title reign, and that is the feud that they are currently teasing between him and his cousin The Rock. This has been a match that many people have wanted for years, and when WWE announced that they would be going to Hollywood for WrestleMania 39, I thought it was the perfect destination for it. Sure, it would mean Roman Reigns retaining, but I'm okay with that considering that Roman Reigns retained anyways and I was good with that outcome. But it also meant we were finally going to get the story of who was the head of the table in the bloodline between Roman and The Rock. Everything from the promos between Roman and The Rock, Paul Heyman, potentially bringing in other family members like Afa, Sika, Rikishi, I was totally on board with, and I really wanted to see it badly. But of course, WrestleMania 39 came and it went and we didn't get the match. But now here we are about a year away from that, a couple months leading into WrestleMania 40, and on the day one edition of Monday Night Raw, The Rock comes out and hits us with the money line.
Should The Rock sit at the head of the table?
Now, the reaction to this has been pretty positive, but there has sparked the conversation on if this is the right decision to have this match at this time. Because with WrestleMania on the horizon, many people suspect that that's the planned destination for The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Because if you are bringing The Rock back, you don't just bring him back for some B show match, you bring him back for an A show, and what's the best A show? WrestleMania. Because for those who don't know, when it came to pay-per-view buys, the three biggest WrestleManias are WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 29, and WrestleMania 27. And what do they all have in common? The Rock being featured on all three of those shows in a row. And at WrestleMania 27, he didn't even have a match. He just hosted it. At the end of the day, The Rock is a draw. The numbers show it, and everybody around the world knows it. Hell, if you just go and see the social media interactions that WWE got that day that The Rock came back and teased the match with Roman Reigns, the proof is right there of how big The Rock is on a mainstream scale. And pairing him up one-on-one with not only a family member that can create an intriguing story like Roman Reigns, but the top guy in the business is an opportunity that you just can't pass up. But there are a lot of problems that come out of this situation that many people are not considering. Let's start off with the obvious one. What about Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes has been building up his story over the last year ever since he lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. And if you go back to that SmackDown a couple of months ago when Roman and Jay were the tag team champions on SmackDown, they had that confrontation between him and Roman. Cody has also said in numerous promos that he's trying to win the Royal Rumble in order to finish the story. I mean, it's almost become comical and a joke to this point how much he has said that phrase. And for him to finally get to this point where it looks like he's going to get that rematch and potentially be the one to end Roman Reigns' title run, all for The Rock to just come back and take that spot away from him and delay that moment again. If I'm Cody, I would definitely feel some type of way. I've been there grinding my ass off over the last year and a half, all for this guy to show up and have a pretty mediocre match with Roman Reigns just because his name is The Rock. Which leads into the second issue that a lot of people aren't talking about. I don't think this match is going to deliver up to the hype. And it isn't because of Roman Reigns. We all know what Roman is capable of in the ring. Sure, he doesn't do all of the moves that he used to do as the big dog, but naturally that comes with the territory being a heel. On the other hand, with The Rock, that's where a lot of my questions lie. For starters, when it comes to his in-ring work, he has not worked a match in almost 10 years. And the last match that he actually wrestled, not counting the Eric Rowan one at WrestleMania 32, that was like 5 seconds, it was very boring. That WrestleMania 29 match with John Cena was not that good. And when we saw him at day one, he did 2 moves, a spine buster and a people's elbow, and he was out of breath. The Rock is 51 years old, and when we last saw him in the ring for an actual match, he was 42. And even after that WrestleMania 29 match, as bad as it was, The Rock had multiple injuries that he had to get surgeries for. So now, almost 10 years years later, I'm expecting The Rock to come out there and not only verbally joust with Roman Reigns, but to go out there and put on a classic. Let's be serious here. Hell, I don't even know if he has the first part of that sentence down, because his verbal skills really have not moved me since he came back for WrestleMania 27. It's not to say that he hasn't had some good promos, but if you just go back and watch the promos that The Rock had with John Cena and CM Punk, he was getting demolished.
Just like I don't need my notes for my promo on my wrist.
When you step in the ring, your arms are just too short to box with God.
And since then, with the sporadic appearances that The Rock has had, he has put on kiddie promos. The corny jokes and him telling the audience to say day one douchebag, it's just not moving me anymore. And sure, the audience is going to always eat it up. I mean, it is The Rock, it always works for him. But when you're going one-on-one with a guy like Roman Reigns, who's gonna chew you up and spit you out, and sometimes with a guy like Paul Heyman, who's arguably the GOAT promo cutter, I just don't want to see The Rock come back and get cooked over and over and over again with little to no response other than his catchy slogans, which leads into the real problem with The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It cannot happen at WrestleMania, nor should it happen. I understand that The Rock is a big draw. WrestleMania will do great numbers with The Rock on the show, but the problem is WrestleMania is already doing great numbers without The Rock. The company has done a great job over the last year and a half of building up the current stars on their roster to make the card already stacked without him. Wrestlers like Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk is back. You have Gunther, Seth Rollins. Hell, they've even done a good enough job to make Jimmy and Jay a highlight marquee match on the card for WrestleMania. There really is no reason to put The Rock on that show and force Cody Rhodes out of the spot that he has earned over the last year with finishing his story. To put into perspective how hot the business is doing, they sold 20,000 tickets in a couple of hours for WrestleMania 40 when they first went online. The Rock is great, and certainly he will draw more eyes to the product, but you also have another big show called Elimination Chamber in Australia. The show is due to have over 60,000 fans, and it's going to be a big show similar to the Clash in the Castle. That is a big enough show to do a Rock versus Roman Reigns match. Of course, ideally you would want it at WrestleMania, but considering everything else I just said earlier on in this video, there's just no need to put it on that show when you already have a built-in story and another huge show built in between now and Mania. And what's great about that is that you can still have The Rock at the Elimination Chamber face Roman Reigns, and he can still come out at WrestleMania and interact with the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa obviously is gonna be at ringside for the Roman vs. Cody match. You can have a run-in with The Rock taking out Solo Sikoa from the equation completely. Don't forget you also have Jimmy vs. Jay. The Rock can get involved in that match. You can still get to the main goal result where The Rock is on the WrestleMania show while also still doing the Rock vs. Roman match on the show before at Elimination Chamber. I personally feel like all sides involved would benefit from that. You would get the end goal of Rock vs. Roman, Cody would finish his story, and Roman would finally drop the title. It truly is the definition of a win-win-win. The wrestlers, the fans, and the company all benefit. But hey, those are just my thoughts and opinions. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and press that bell for post notifications. Been a lot of new subscribers coming in from the Roman Reigns video and the Seth Rollins video doing great numbers. I appreciate all the support you guys show. Keep it up. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day. I'm out. Peace.